You ever find something ordinary that turned out to be the biggest clue to your past? Don't skip this. This story might just change how you see your own life. Emma Walker never believed in fate. She was a planner. Her phone calendar was color-coded, her pantry alphabetized, and her budget tracked down to the last cent. On a chilly Tuesday in autumn, she walked into Maple Mart, a local grocery store just outside of Portland, Oregon, for milk, eggs, and some pasta sauce. Nothing special, or so she thought. The store was nearly empty, echoing with soft instrumental music and the occasional ding of the entrance chime. Emma grabbed her usual items, added a box of herbal tea she hadn't tried before, and made her way to the self-checkout. She scanned her items, paid, and reached for the receipt automatically. But this time, the machine jammed. A moment later, a slightly crumpled receipt popped out, not hers. She almost tossed it, but paused. The ink was slightly faded, like it had been printed hours ago. Something about it looked old, though the timestamp read only 30 minutes earlier. Must be someone else's, she murmured. Still, curiosity tugged at her. The list wasn't unusual: bread, soup, a small bag of apples. But then she saw it. Walker family oats, -1 pounds. Her hand froze. Walker was a common last name, yes, but Walker family oats? That wasn't a brand, it was her grandfather's old recipe. He used to grow and grind his own oats on a small farm in Idaho. They never sold them commercially. As far as she knew, that recipe died with him 10 years ago. Her pulse quickened. She looked around. Nobody seemed to be searching for a receipt. Emma tucked it into her purse and walked out slowly, her tea and pasta sauce forgotten. Emma sat in her car for a long time, the receipt pressed flat against her palm. Her grandfather, Richard Walker, passed away when she was 17. He had always been secretive about his farm. He used to call it a sacred little corner of the earth. His oat recipe was his pride. No one else knew it, and after he passed, the land was sold. Emma thought the recipe had disappeared forever. She drove home, groceries untouched in the back seat. At home, she dropped her purse and opened her laptop, typing quickly into the search bar. Walker family oats. Nothing. No official website. No online store. No social media. Just a few scattered mentions in old forums and one recent blog post by someone named Janice Eldridge. It read, "Finally found the oats I've been craving for years. Just like the ones old Mr. Walker used to give out at the Saturday farmers market. Can't believe I found them again. Maple Mart in Portland." Emma's breath caught. Old Mr. Walker. That's what the neighbors in Idaho used to call her grandfather. And the Saturday farmers market, that was decades ago. She clicked the link Janice had posted, leading to a site called Three Pines Harvest, a small organic co-op that listed a few products: handmade jams, heirloom vegetables, and at the bottom, Walker family oats, crafted from a legacy. Her eyes widened. A real product page. She clicked About Us. There was a picture of the founder, Sarah Lane, a woman in her 50s with soft eyes, sun-worn skin, and Emma leaned in. She looked like her mother. Not vaguely, exactly. Same chin, same cheekbones, same calm smile. Emma's heart raced. Who was Sarah Lane? Emma couldn't stop staring at the photo of Sarah Lane. The resemblance was undeniable. She looked like her mother if her mother had aged into her 50s. But Emma's mother, Lily Walker, had passed away when Emma was just 5. She had only a few photos of her, and none were digital. Still, the face in front of her now stirred something deep: memory, longing, and confusion. She called the number on the Three Pines Harvest website. "Three Pines, this is Sarah," the voice on the other end said. Emma froze. She hadn't planned this far. What would she say? "Hi, I saw your picture and you might be my dead mother's twin." She took a breath. "Hi, I'm calling about the Walker family oats." "Oh," Sarah sounded cheerful. "You're the third person this week asking about them. We don't sell them in many places, just a few local shops. Do you live nearby?" "I'm in Portland," Emma said, her voice shaky. I found a receipt, and I saw the name Walker. That's my family name. There was a pause. Sarah spoke again, this time softer. That name means a lot to me. Emma's chest tightened. How do you know the Walkers? Another long pause. Finally, Sarah whispered, because I am one. Emma didn't speak. Sarah continued, her voice trembling now. I was adopted. My birth mother's name was Lily Walker. I never got to meet her. Emma's world tilted. The silence grew heavy as tears filled her eyes. I think... Emma barely managed to speak. I think she was my mother too. Emma and Sarah met the next day at a small cafe in downtown Portland. It was raining softly. The kind of rain that didn't soak you but made everything feel more fragile. Sarah walked in first, carrying a cloth tote bag and a nervous smile. Emma recognized her immediately. The moment they locked eyes, there was a stillness, not awkward but sacred. As if something broken was quietly mending itself. They sat in a corner booth. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Sarah reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph. It was a black and white picture of a young woman, with a soft face and bright eyes, holding a newborn wrapped in a hand-knit blanket. Emma gasped. I've seen that face in my dreams, she whispered. That's Lily, Sarah said. Our mother. Tears ran down Emma's cheeks. But how did this happen? Why didn't I ever know? Sarah's voice was steady but heavy. I was born before her marriage? She was just 18. Her parents, our grandparents, forced her to give me up for adoption. No one ever talked about it. Emma felt a sharp ache in her chest. Sarah continued, I searched for her for years. But by the time I found her name again, it was too late. She had passed. And then I found the farm. And the recipe. I started making the oats because it felt like the only piece of her I could hold. Emma held her hand. You didn't just find her? You found me. 2 weeks later, Emma and Sarah drove together to the old Walker family farm in Idaho, the place where it all began. The farmhouse was worn by time but still standing strong, just as Emma remembered. They were met by an old caretaker named Tom, who had worked for their grandfather long ago. He welcomed them warmly. Your granddad said someone from the family might come back one day. He said, handing them a rusted key. Told me to give you this if that ever happened. The key was old and oddly shaped. It's for the old barn, Tom said, pointing toward the weathered wooden structure at the edge of the fields. The barn smelled of dust and dried hay. Emma and Sarah stepped inside, hearts pounding. They searched in silence until Emma spotted a trapdoor under a stack of forgotten crates. It creaked open. Beneath it, wrapped in linen and sealed in a tin box, were old letters, recipe journals, and photographs. One photo showed a young Lily holding 2 babies, twins. Emma and Sarah stared at it in disbelief. We were born together, Sarah whispered. Tears spilled freely now. They weren't just half-sisters. They were twins, separated by shame and silence. Emma picked up one letter. It was addressed to my daughters, if you ever find each other. Emma's hands trembled as she opened the letter. The paper was yellowed, the ink faded, but her mother's handwriting was unmistakable, elegant and flowing. Just like in the birthday card she had once kept under her pillow as a child. My dear daughters, if you're reading this, it means you found each other. I'm so sorry. I wish I had been stronger. The world wasn't kind to me when you were born. I was told I had to choose and I hated them for making me. But I never stopped loving either of you. Emma gasped and wiped her tears as Sarah read over her shoulder. Sarah, I think of you every time I see the morning sun. Emma, I see your eyes in every book I read. You are both a part of me, the best part. The letter closed with a final line, written shakily. Forgive me. Find each other. And live the life I never could, together. Neither of them spoke for a long time. They just sat on the old barn floor. The letter between them, hands clasped tightly. In that moment, grief didn't win. Love did. Back in Portland, Emma and Sarah opened a small breakfast cafe near the old Maple Mart. They called it the Walker Table. On the menu, hand-ground oatmeal made from their grandfather's recipe, topped with apple slices, just like their mother loved. It wasn't just food they were serving. It was healing. Locals came for the oats but stayed for the warmth. The sisters didn't talk much about how they found each other. They let the quiet love between them say enough. In the back of the cafe, near the kitchen, was a small picture frame on the wall. Inside was the letter from Lily, yellowed and curled at the edges under the glass. One morning, a little girl pointed to it and asked, "Whose writing is that?" Emma knelt beside her and smiled. "It's from someone who loved us before she even met us." And every time they opened for the day, they set 2 bowls at the window table, one for Emma, one for Sarah, side by side, like they were always meant to be. And if a single forgotten receipt could lead to a lost family, just imagine what one subscribe can bring back into your life.